Welcome back to the Wingman Show. I am your host, the Wingman. Yeah, that's me. And tonight we have a very special guest. You might know him from this. That's right, Brian. And I just got yelled at for mispronouncing the last name, so I'm not going to go there. Brian from Transpose, how are you doing?
Yelled at you via my Facebook page about my last name.
Well, Robin, I'm very sorry. I didn't mean to do it. I just try to read things as I see them, as words.
I wasn't going to say anything, but, she blew up my my Facebook Messenger with it.
Loyalty. That's cool. So, Brian, last week we talked about the music on Jam Session.
Right.
This week, we're going to talk about your upcoming book.
Yes, sir.
Tell me a little about it.
Well, it's a time travel novel, and the entire novel takes place in the year 2095. It's about a man who wakes up one morning. Well, he went to sleep the night before in normal time, the kind of this time period. And he wakes up in 2095, and his wife is there. She looks exactly the same as his wife back in this time. But, of course, everything has been updated to the future. The city, he's in the same city. The old buildings are still there, but, cars are now kind of, they have now hover cars, so cars are floating around as opposed to flying, and kind of like a Jetsons utopia land. And so the book is in the first person, and the only way you figure out what's going on is through his eyes. You don't ever know anything he doesn't. There's no side monologues from other characters. So the book is really about why he's there, how he's there, what's the purpose of him being there, and why is his wife there too, and she's acting normal, like this is where they're supposed to be, and he's got to try to figure out how to get back. And so it's more of a sci-fi time travel drama, than like a shoot 'em up car chase Total Recall type movie. It's kind of more in the vein of like I don't know if you've ever seen the movie The Jacket.
Yes.
So it's kind of a little bit more more like that. It's more of a mystery of why this is happening, and as things start unraveling, things aren't exactly what they seem, and so that's the long of the short, I guess.
Well, that sounds interesting. When will that be available?
Right now, it's going to be finished this month. I probably have 2 more actual days of writing, so I'm coming up to the very, very end, and then it's going to go to my editor, Dan Golden, out in the Virginia, D.C. area. He's the man that took on the daunting task of revising and re-editing my first 2 books for their second edition printing this year. So I've gone ahead and full-fledged hired him to be the editor of this book. And I'm hoping to get his edited second draft back sometime around the middle August to the end of August, which then we can shoot for a late September, early October release. And it'll be out in paperback and ebook simultaneously, Kindle, iBookstore, the Barnes & Noble's Nook, and then along with a paperback release.
That sounds phenomenal.
Then hopefully, fingers crossed, the audiobook will be out in either late 2013 or early 2014. That'll be the next step after the book comes out in printed format. Then we're gonna hit the recording for the audiobook.
Now, this is a show about Hollywood. The tagline is, we talk about who's doing what in Hollywood, not who's doing who. We don't do tabloid stuff. So, my question to you is, when's the movie coming out?
Yeah, well, as soon as, I don't know, David Cronenberg calls me.
Okay, if you had to pick, if you could pick your lead, who would it be?
The lead actor?
Yes.
You're kind of you have a good face on Facebook.
Okay, I accept.
No, it's a funny question. You as a writer, you kind of sometimes fantasize about if your books ever do make the screen and who will play who. And you kind of go through that process, and I definitely feel that I don't necessarily think I would like any big name stars. I tend to like movies where you get to kind of think about who that actor is. So I've seen him before in a bunch of movies, but I don't necessarily know his name. I don't people who get regular work, it always seems to have smaller roles in films, kind of on the indie market. So I kind of feel like I would be more comfortable handing my work over to actors and actresses of that magnitude. I saw Oblivion recently, and I thought Tom Cruise did an amazing job. But again, is it a Tom Cruise vehicle, or is it a sci-fi movie? And then you compare it to a movie like Moon with Sam Rockwell.
A wonderful film.
Right, and they were very similar. Both movies were very similar in plot line and structure, and you felt was one less distracting because of the star name. So I don't necessarily know if that would be kind of what I'd be looking for if it ever hit the screen. But
have you watched Love?
No, but it's funny that you bring that up because the person, his name is Tommy Fuller, who turned us on to the movie Moon, was also raving about Love at the same time, and I haven't been able to find a copy yet. So, because I'm out here in Japan, so our resources are somewhat limited with just being able to go, grab a movie real quick. I found Moon at a rental store here, but I haven't been able to find Love.
And I take it Japanese Netflix is different?
Yeah, yeah, a little bit.
The reason Love crossed my path was because I'm a big Blink-182 fan, and by association, a big Angels and Airwaves fan, and
right.
So I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. It's in my instant queue, but that does make me want to ask you. You were talking about unknowns doing the parts for your film, possibly. The first thing that came to my mind was the first time I saw Donnie Darko.
Right, which actually my wife and I just watched that for the very first time, I think last month or the month before. So we finally got around to seeing that.
And what'd you think?
Oh, we loved it, but at the same time when it was over, I remember us both kind of saying that it was different than what we expected it to be from what we've heard about it from everyone who's loved it. I think we went into it thinking it was one thing, and we came out with it being something else, but loving it just as much, but kind of being thrown for a loop about what it actually was about.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I'm not really sure anybody can accurately describe what Donnie Darko is. It's like it's a story about teen angst in the 80s. Okay, so it's John Hughes? Well, no, it's it has time travel elements.
Right.
So it's Back to the Future? No.
Well, the time travel elements were very very minimal, which made it interesting. It wasn't necessarily a time travel story. There was just kind of sprinkled with it. When it revealed itself at the end, which I thought was brilliantly done. I thought they did a really good job with that, presenting that outcome.
What's your favorite time travel story in media?
Oh,
and don't say your own, because that's not fair to all of the other writers. And you know what? You can say your own. It's cool.
I would never. Yeah. No. No, I tend to like the stories where they're not getting into a big clunky machine that whirls and buzzes and sends people all around different times. I kind of like time travel happening in more of an organic feel. I thought The Jacket was really good. I thought Source Code was really good, which was a kind of different time travel story. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
It was so I mean that was interesting. There's a movie, a Japanese movie called Riding the Metro. It's about a guy who falls asleep on the metro subway line in Tokyo, and he wakes up and gets off the train like nothing happened. He was coming home from work, And when he steps out of the train station, he's in Tokyo at circa World War II era. And there was no fancy machine that sent him there. He just somehow he got transported back to that time. And I find that it makes the story a little bit more attainable. Mm-hmm. Also, Michael Crichton did a really good job with it in his novel for Timeline. I'm really disappointed at the movie version of that book.
Yeah, it was kind of...
Because Crichton used, a lot of quantum physics theories to explain how this happens, and it was more of had more of an organic direction. And then they took the movie and just made it into this swashbuckling action time travel story, and I don't think the book was ever really supposed to be that.
I understand where you're coming from, as far as the content you like about time travel. But what I feel is missing is, I don't know, flux capacitor.
Yeah, well, I mean, the flux capacitor, you always have to have a soft spot in your heart for that, right?
Absolutely.
In Wells's Time Machine,
mm-hmm.
Getting into that, I mean, that's kind of the, classic time machine. But after a while, there's got to be a better way to present the time travel story because it's been done for so many years. So I definitely enjoy this kind of new wave of time travel. Looper was really good too. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I haven't had a chance to see that.
That was great too because that put a totally different spin on time travel. So I enjoy that they're becoming more creative than, let's just keep them in, Bill and Ted putting them in a telephone booth and shooting them around, which is funny, but, from a sci-fi standpoint, it's, we got to kind of step up the game and, find more creative ways to zap people around in space. A Sound of Thunder, did you see that?
I read the book.
Right, that was interesting too because what if we were able to go back to prehistoric times and someone just stepped on a butterfly and something as simple as that is changed evolution from that moment on forward. So, I thought that was a really good, they sprinkled a different sort of, outcome in that, as just being a generic, time travel and what would happen if story.
The butterfly effect.
Butterfly effect is good, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true, yeah.
I saw it. I really enjoyed it. For me, that was the first time, I looked at time travel like no machine. Well, yeah, no machine. And you have like an instant gratification on what the changes are.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. No, that was, I thought that was really well written. So I definitely started getting interested in time travel in that format then like I said, as opposed to the machine. So that was the what I wanted to explore with my book. So I don't know if I did it or not. I guess we'll find out when it comes out,
So as we close up, do you have anything you want to plug, promote? Before that, I have to mention two things: Quantum Leap and Doctor Who.
Yes.
Can't talk about time travel without mentioning those names.
Right. Yes, I agree.
I think that covers everything.
we have blanketed everything we needed to talk about.
Absolutely. So what's new? What's coming out? What are you doing?
Finishing the book this month. Getting ready for it to come out. Like I said, late September, early October. Both of my two first novels, Dreams Are Unfinished Thoughts and Welcome to Parkview, are both being re-released at the same time. Like I said, my editor, Dan Golden, has been working on that on every spare second he has to get those ready for release. And hopefully in 2014, we're looking at audiobooks of all three of my books. And then probably going to sit on a beach with a mixed drink and an umbrella and just take a deep breath.
Well, that sounds absolutely wonderful. Thank you for coming on, Brian.
Thank you for having me.
And that will do it for this week's edition of The Wingman Show. Please stay tuned at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard. We will have the flagship show of the Briar Radio Network, Just Kicking It with Ramsey. Coming up next, Jam Session. And remember, tonight's Wednesday Night Showcase is brought to you by Dark Rises, the thriller from writer-director Miosha Bean. Just go to YouTube, do a quick search for Dark Rises, Thriller, 2013 short movies. You'll find it. Watch it. So, until next week, until next time, this has been the Wingman Show. I'm the Wingman. Peace out.